Have you ever heard of an endless tag? It's a tag that you can fold over and over again until you get back to the beginning. You could theoretically continue forever. If you have never heard of it, or if you have, but you don't know how to do it, here's the tutorial for you. Hi, I'm Bianca, and I'm going to show you how this tag works. You can already see what we need in the background. You need a piece of paper that's a little thicker. This one is 200 grams. Then a pencil, scissors, and a ruler. And with that, you can make this tag. How you decorate it is ultimately up to you. But after I've shown you how to make this tag, I'll also say a few words about decorating it. And very, very important, at the end of this video, I'll show you a cheat sheet, so an overview of how this tag is structured and designed, because I'm the kind of person who likes to take notes and make summaries, so a cheat sheet like this is super helpful for me. You can see my old cheat sheet here. I've made notes on how the whole thing works, and I'll give them to you as a nice freebie. That means, as I said, I'll show you my cheat sheet at the end of the video, and you can take a picture or you can send me an email, and I'll send you the whole thing via email. As I already said in my other videos, I don't have a shop yet, so I want to give it to you anyways. That means if you're interested, just send me a quick email. So we'll start by cutting 2 pieces of paper to a size of 8 by 16 centimeters. On the cheat sheet, I'll have the inch measurement, but in the video, I'll just use centimeters. So I'll show you how I mark the whole thing with this paper first. I've already placed a ruler here, and now I just marked the 16 centimeters. So that's the length of our tag. And then we need the width, which is 8 centimeters. And here I marked the 8 centimeter point twice. So second time here. Because now I can just draw a line through it, because I have 2 points where I can align the ruler. And I'll zoom in for you here. You can see it. I've just quickly drawn a 3rd point so that you can see it on camera. And I'm going to align the ruler with these points. We can also align it at the 16 centimeter line at the top so that it matches at the end. And then we just draw a straight line. And with the 16 centimeters, it is the same, but I'll show it again anyway. So I'll mark the 16 centimeter point again. So I have 2 so that I end up with a really straight line. And now it's time to cut them out. You can use regular scissors or a cutting machine, which would be even better. Or you can do what I'm about to do and use a ruler and a pocket knife. With that, you can also draw a parallel line down. And of course, I don't want to scratch my table. That's why I've put an old cardboard underneath. And now we just cut it. And this is our first piece of paper. And as I said, we need 2 of them. So I'll just quickly make the second one. And here the second piece is already done. That went pretty quickly, at least for you. And I also did a little prep work because the next step is to cut these 2 pieces of paper in half. So one horizontally and one vertically. And I've already marked the lines. That one would be a line at 4 centimeters because the width is 8 centimeters. And this is the line at 8 centimeters because the length is 16 centimeters. Now I've cut that. And now we're going to fold. That means we're going to mark the points where we are going to fold the pieces of paper. We don't cut them now, we only fold. So let's start with this piece here. And here we'll fold the whole thing at a 2 centimeter mark from the outer edge inwards. I'll bring it a bit closer, you can see it better. So from the left to the right, 2 centimeters, and from the right to the left, 2 centimeters. And I'll do that by hand. So I just fold it over and make sure that the line here is exactly on this fold, and then I'm just going to align the edge with the other edge, hold it steady, and then you can just press it down. And now we'll do exactly the same thing with the other side. Yeah, now I press it down because I don't have a bone folder. That's why I use my alcohol marker right here. I just did the same thing exactly with the other piece of paper. So now I have folded my 2 squares here, and as you can see, the one on the left has a small gap and the one on the right doesn't, but that's not a big deal. You can just leave it like that and it's perfectly fine. And then we move on to the long ones here. We lay them crosswise and then we fold them again 4 centimeters inwards from the outer edges. So here too, I'll bring you a bit closer. We fold it at 4 centimeters from the outside to the inside. So same procedure, we fold it over, look where the line is, align the edges, and then just press it down. And I'll do the same with the other one. And this is what it looks like now. Now we can start gluing. We'll focus on these 2 pieces here. I'm turning the whole thing around. And now you have to make sure that you only apply glue behind these folding lines. So for the bottom layer, it's on the left side from the folding line, and the top layer, it is above the folding line. And we have to align that to transfer the folding line from the long piece onto the smaller piece, so that we only glue on the parts that we can fold. And I've marked that here. And as I said, make sure that you only apply glue onto the marked area and not over the folding line, because otherwise the mechanism won't work. And now just simply line up the corners so everything is straight. And now we do the same thing with the other piece of paper. So again, make sure that you transfer the folding line from the long one onto the shorter one and only apply glue on the marked area. Now edge to edge, make sure that everything is straight, and also make sure that the edges in the middle don't overlap, because otherwise it gets stuck. And now we have to attach that part. So I'll turn that around, and now again we'll transfer the folding line onto the other piece of paper. And I'll just do that on the other side as well. And I'll come a bit closer, you can see it better this time. We transfer the line and only apply glue on the marked area. Now turn that around and then just put it on edge to edge. Make sure it's nice and parallel everywhere. And then we just let the whole thing dry. That's it. Now you have your folding mechanism. You fold the other ones back, and the problem here is that I've actually glued the squares down the wrong way, but we can just quickly bend it in the opposite direction and fix that. So it's not a big deal if that happens to you as well. So we just do that here, and now it fits again. Once again, we fold it upwards now, and you can see here that it gets a little bit stuck because I don't know, I didn't cut or glued it properly. I mean, precision work is difficult, but don't panic if that happened to you as well. We can just fix it by simply cutting away a little bit from the edge. Not much, just a tiny bit. You can also do that with a cutting machine, but I'll just do that by hand. So you see, it's not much, it's really just a few millimeters. And that just fixed it, as you can see here. And it's the same principle with the flap on the back. So when you open it up, the edges kind of meet at the back because, as I said, maybe I didn't glue it well or I didn't cut it well, but again, no problem. We just cut off a bit from the side edge. And when you've done that, you'll see that the whole thing folds beautifully again without anything snagging or getting in the way. And this cutting won't affect your tag at all. So if you notice that something is overlapping, just cut off a few millimeters and then it will work perfectly again. You can see it here. It's not much what I cut off. Now let's make a real tag out of it. So we just cut off a corner right at the top. And then you can do the same on the other side. You can take the corner that you've cut off, turn it over and place it on the other corner and then just cut along the edge. And this is how you create your tag look. And now I'll just go through the whole look again. And then I'll say a few words about decorating. So you can see, fold it back, fold it up, fold it to the side, and then back up again and we are at the start. So now for the decorating. For the old tag, I just use old book pages, pictures, whatever you can find. And I've also have this beautiful shimmery paper right here. And what you do is you just glue that onto your tag. It's as simple as it sounds. For example, for the front, you just take a piece of paper that you want and then you just glue it down. You can see it here a bit better. Just turn it over, glue it down, and then cut around it. And that's it. You just do that with every single piece of white paper that you have. For example, with this flap, you just put it onto paper, cut around it. And with the inner parts of the tag, you do the same thing. You just glue down your paper, whatever you use, everywhere. And you could also use a colorful paper from the start so that you don't have a white tag, but maybe a blue one or a green one, whatever you want. But as I said, the rest is just overglue it. And you can even attach beads, and I wouldn't necessarily glue them in the inside because then you can't really close the tag, but it works just fine on the outside, especially on the front. Now you know the mechanics behind these endless tags. And I hope the tutorial was clear and you understood what I did. If not, feel free to write me a comment and I'll try to help you. And if you liked, you can also send me a picture of your finished result. I'm always happy when I get to exchange ideas with you and when you let me be a part of your creations. And for now, have a lot of fun crafting. And I'll see you next time.